Hello everyone, this is Mac here and I welcome you all to my YouTube channel which is called Mac Vlogs. Ho ho ho, the day is here. Before the finals, we are sitting here on Saturday night to enjoy the finals for tomorrow. It's going to be happening between Australia and New Zealand. The teams which played well in their semi-final matches, so they are truly deserve to be in the finals. Australia versus New Zealand happening tomorrow. So my guest for this evening to discuss about the World Cup's journey happened in UAE. First of all, I would like to start with Mr. Dalen De Cruz, the cricket analyst, Mr. Bishen Singh Bhalla, the cricket expert, and the Ansar Raza Ansari, who is the former cricketer of Oman cricket team. I welcome you all, guys, once again on Maclogs.
Greetings.
Good evening.
Thank you.
Good evening to all you viewers.
कैसा लग रहा है भाई फाइनल से पहले फाइनल को हम डिस्कस कर रहे हैं और वर्ल्ड कप की जर्नी में आपका क्या कहना है did your prediction came true of these two teams reaching the final or you had different teams in mind for the finals
I think we had different teams in
you.
mind. Different teams in mind, definitely. Probably
okay,
England,
who were your
Pakistan.
predictions for the final? So let's go like that way. Dylan, what were your two teams for the final?
Well, from the beginning, if you see the tournament from the beginning, I would have predicted India and England. And as the
India and England.
tournament in the beginning,
Okay.
yeah. And then as the
Bhalla
tournament
bhai,
progressed,
आपका आपकी कौन सी
England and or rather Australia and India in my opinion, but England as well.
Oh.
Yes.
okay and
Yeah.
Ansar, your prediction was for the two teams?
I was going for between three teams. It was India, England, Pakistan.
But the two
All
teams
three
for the
are-
final you were expecting, after seeing all the matches and all.
I felt India and Pakistan because of the conditions they're playing in.
Okay. So we have a different mixed feelings, mixed reactions to the different teams we were expecting. So as far as myself is concerned, I was looking at India, Pakistan again because I thought it's going to be a repeat of Champions Trophy because I thought that maybe the stage was set for India to come from behind to be in the semi-finals and defeat England and Pakistan defeats Australia. So it could have become either ashes or it could have been the rivalry between India and Pakistan. But unfortunately, that couldn't happen. Both the teams exited. But now we are looking forward to New Zealand and England tomorrow. So let's begin by saying a big thank you to Oman cricket team. They were wonderful. That was their first tournament. I would like to give a lot of applause. I think we all can clap together for Oman cricket team.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Because
Well played,
that was
Oman.
their first tournament. They came forward and they expressed themselves in a way which we all wanted. Thank you, Oman. We love you.
We love you.
So anything for Oman cricket team, Dalen, Bishing and Ansar, one by one, and then we'll take about different teams and we will proceed.
So Oman as a ground, I think they hosted it beautifully. We didn't expect them to come up with this type of infrastructure. So the way they came up with it, I think they just took 1 or 2 months to come up with it. And the hosting rights were given to Oman, and they really did an excellent job. As far as the Oman cricket team is concerned, they did a pretty good job in the last World Cup. They won against Ireland in Dharamsala, but this time they played really against Papua New Guinea and gave a good fight against Bangladesh as well. So I'm thinking in Australia they would do well as well in those conditions.
Bishen Singh?
I think this is just the start for a wonderful journey ahead for the Oman team. They have shown that they can perform at this stage with the best teams, and we only wish them the very best for the future. And I can safely say that Oman cricket is in the right and proper hands, and wish them all the best.
Ansar, you will have more stuff to say basically because you were part of that dressing room, you were part of that team as a former cricketer, and still you follow Oman cricket with passion. So I'm sure your emotions are going to be totally different. What do you have to say about Oman cricket team?
Yeah, I think kudos to Oman Cricket Board and the team, because I think in partnership both have done exceptionally well. To arrange the tournament at such short notice in the stadium here, I think hats off again to Oman Cricket, and I think hats off to the effort put by the players and the amount of performance, the practice matches, the way they played. They beat a strong Mumbai side in the local ground. So definitely, hats off to Oman Cricket. and we just hope and pray that they just keep growing and growing in the same way.
So we would like to bring into our audience notice that the different teams which played in Oman and UAE during the before the I think the Super 12 stage, right? That was more of Oman, PNG, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka,
Scotland.
Namibia, Scotland. Please,
Netherlands.
if I can't
Ireland
recall
and
any other
Netherlands.
team,
Correct.
Ireland and
Correct.
sorry.
Netherlands.
Yeah. So all these teams, a lot of applause for them as well,
Yeah.
basically because they also came and fought the way because they all were eligible to play in this World Cup and then shown that the cricket can excel in their countries as well. That's why they came forward and they were part of this journey of first time. And I'm sure playing with the big nations like India, Pakistan, England, Australia, so they might have learned a lot of things and a lot of experiences. Please, one by one, what are your feelings and thoughts about these teams participating in this World Cup, and who do you felt that have a very good chance for the future to grow in their country? The cricket can grow in those countries. Dylan, starting with you.
I think Scotland did a pretty good job. They are, I think, the second or third biggest nation in the UK. So they've come through the ranks. But the problem, I think, with them is they don't play cricket at a professional level full time. They also are probably like the Oman team. They have part-time jobs, and then cricket is their secondary source of income. So I think they've done a pretty good job. The match against New Zealand, they did a very, very good job. They almost chased it down. So that was a good achievement. And
I
they've
think,
come a long way.
sorry. I think I missed one team. Please correct me. Was Ireland also part of the World Cup?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Please go ahead,
They
Dylan.
didn't qualify. Yeah, Ireland was a part of the World Cup, but they didn't qualify. So it was Scotland who came in. And of course, Afghanistan was there from day one. And Bangladesh just made it. But Bangladesh, I think, disappointed everyone. So I think Scotland has come a long way. We didn't expect Scotland to do so well in the World Cup.
Over to you, Bishen.
I think in the qualifiers, Scotland did exceptionally well to beat Bangladesh and prove that on any given day, no team can be taken for granted, whether it's a test playing nation or whether it's an associate nation. But overall, I was most impressed, apart from the obvious choices, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. I was extremely impressed with Namibia. They were in a group where they had Ireland, they had Netherlands, they had Sri Lanka, and Netherlands claimed to have their best team ever. And not only did Namibia win over there, I think they did a very good job at the World Cup in the Super 12s as well. They beat Scotland and they gave a good account of themselves against all teams. And it just shows that with preparation, with such tournaments, where you get the experience of playing test nations or proper T20 teams or the top teams, how much your cricket can further progress. So I was very impressed with Namibia.
Over to you, Ansar.
Yep, I concur with Bishen. I think Namibia was the dark horse, and they were in the toughest group. They were in the group with Sri Lanka, Ireland, Netherlands, Namibia. So people were expecting Sri Lanka and Ireland or Netherlands to qualify. So for them to beat these strong teams and qualify, I think Namibia was a big surprise. And I think from what I remember, 2003 World Cup was the last time that they played in the World Cup. So it's been almost 18 years, and that they qualified through. And in fact, another thing to add, the 2016 T20 World Cup that Oman qualified for, they played against Namibia. And it was Oman versus Namibia. Whoever wins qualifies for the World Cup. And Oman beat Namibia in that match. And I think it was the first match which was telecasted live of Oman. And Zishan Siddiqui played a blinder innings. And we qualified for the 2016 T20 World Cup. So yeah, Namibia has been there and about. But I think this time they were exceptional. And the way they even played against the big people, really, really happy with them. In addition to this, I will also like to add about PNG, because they have all homegrown talent. Now you have to give credit to that team, because they have people who are from that country and they have grown from there. They have played local cricket, and really, very, very impressed with their growth. And the teams that have homegrown talents will always grow, because there's a supply chain available. So if there's a culture of cricket in the country and the local and the young kids are taking it up, I think kudos even to PNG. So yeah, PNG and Namibia were the two teams that I was really impressed with.
That's really amazing at your point. And I would like to ask all three of you, the panel experts, that next year the World Cup is going to be repeated again in Australia, and it's going to be totally different conditions and all. Do you see these associate countries participating in that World Cup as well, or they have to qualify again to be part of that World Cup? So what is the process? Do you have any idea, all three of you?
I think ICC has just released the process, I think a week back, where they have said that some of the teams, I think, who already reached the Super 12, I think, are automatically in. And then there will
Yeah.
be a qualifier for the remaining. And then there's an international qualifier where you have teams from the Asian region, from the US region. So those teams will qualify. So I think there will be a qualification round to reach the World Cup. But I think the teams that have already qualified for the Super 12s automatically make a direct entry into the first round of the World Cup. This is
I
what I
see.
saw last week.
So are we seeing
I
Oman
think,
in Australia's World Cup next year as well, inshallah?
inshallah, I see
Definitely.
them.
Inshallah. We hope so, but I think they have to go through the qualifying.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
I think the top 8 have already qualified for the 2022 World Cup in Australia. The remaining have still to go through a qualifying phase. I think the West Indies still have to qualify. So that was a big debate when they had lost the last match against Australia. So basically what I know is that the top 8 teams qualify automatically, and the remaining have a qualifying stage. I think it will be something like the Super 6 or Super 4. But I'm not sure about the format yet. It hasn't been announced officially.
Okay. So let's bring the main topic into the contention that is happening tomorrow between Australia and New Zealand. Let's talk about this final as well, because it's really important for our audience to know what's going to be the strategy tomorrow between Australia and New Zealand. I feel that it's going to be between Australian batting versus New Zealand bowling. Am I right in saying that? Go ahead, Dylan. Let's see what are your viewpoint on that.
I think first and foremost, it'll be the toss. The toss will have a huge say. Okay, it'll be like 75%, I think, going to
Yeah,
the
this
team who
whole
wins the
World Cup
toss.
has been dependent on toss, toss, toss. You know.
Yeah, if you analyze it very carefully, it's like 12 matches played in the Dubai DSC Stadium. 11 have been won by the team chasing. There's only one team that has won batting first. That's New Zealand, and that was against Scotland, which are considered, yeah, exactly. So, and even if you've seen the IPL, most of the teams batting first have lost. I think in the final, Chennai Super Kings outbatted Kolkata Knight Riders. So that was the edge. So besides the toss, if you see New Zealand's record against Australia in knockout matches, it's been really bad. They haven't beaten Australia in 40 years. The last time they've beaten Australia was in 1981 in a knockout game. So New Zealand has some way to go there. The psychological factor is there, and Australia are mentally very, very strong. So they might take, or you might have some sort of words between Australia and New Zealand, knowing the Australians. But yeah, New Zealand can give a fight. I think they have to win the toss, though. Otherwise, it's, in my opinion, it's going to be pretty one-sided if Australia wins the toss.
Bishing, your heart, your mind, your soul. What is it saying? You're wearing black. It seems that you're with the Kiwis.
No, I just happened to come across this T-shirt, but I'm hopeful of a good cricket match. I think Dylan and others will also agree that toss plays a very important role. I mean, the numbers are out there: 11 out of 12 games, IPL barring CSK and New Zealand. I think it was a day game that they won. While defending. Otherwise, it's heavily skewed in favor of teams. I mean, I understand T20 is a short format, but it's almost ridiculous in a way when 60 runs are chased in 3 to 4 overs in both the semi-finals, given the pressure on the batsmen and the quality of death bowling in both the sides, that went out. So yes, toss plays a major role. So I'm not going to say that, quality bowling, I still believe quality bowling can take care of that, but it's just skewed too much in favor of teams chasing. So that again will be a big factor. But apart from that, see, CSK proved it. You put runs on the board, you'll always put the opposition under pressure. Anything in excess of 185, 190, finals pressure, we've seen that. There's something different about finals. The World Cup 2019 finals, different context. It was 240, if I'm not mistaken. And England were blowing teams apart in those chases. But the pressure of a final told on them. So I believe, end of the day, runs on board in a big finals and just getting your combinations right plays a big role. Both teams are equally capable of winning on their day against any opposition. So I'm taking nothing away from both the teams. They're excellent world-class teams. And let's just hope to see a great match. I mean, as cricket fans, that's what you want to see first and foremost. So best wishes to both the teams.
Before I move to Ansar, I would just like to add, I'm sure you guys might have read the news that the main batsman and the wicketkeeper of New Zealand, Conway, has been ruled out for tomorrow's final after injuring his hand by hitting his hand on the bat.
Correct.
It seems to
Bat.
me. I don't know. He broke some finger or something, so he's been ruled out for tomorrow. How big impact that will be on New Zealand's batting tomorrow? We will take that after Ansar's viewpoint. Go ahead, Ansar, for tomorrow.
Yeah, so I think for tomorrow, I have a different viewpoint. Toss has been extremely important, but listening to the press conference of Aaron Finch after the semi-final against Pakistan, he said that there was not much dew which was coming down. So if that is the case, then we would hope and pray that you get an equal footing for both the teams, because a World Cup final should not be decided on a toss. So we hope that we get a good match where there is no dew and there's no unfair advantage to either of the teams. But that being said, I'm just going to take a neutral cap off for this one, and I'm backing Australia just purely because I think New Zealand has been an Achilles heel for India for the last three ICC events, whether it's the WTC final, whether it's the 2019 50-over World Cup, as well as this year in the T20 World Cup. So I'm going yellow. I'm supporting Australia. Plus, I think a big match mentality that they have, and they're coming with momentum. I'm really going their way. Regarding the Devin Conway discussion, I think they have a straightforward swap with Tim Stifford. He's a wicketkeeper who bats, so he can easily replace him. And they started the World Cup with Tim Stifford in the team. So I think they'll go directly with that.
I don't want to say this, but I'm still saying it basically because you are saying that you want Australia to win. So yellow.
I never thought I would say that in my life, but actually,
Yeah, but let me continue by saying this: yellow. You are a dirty fellow for choosing Australia. Anyways, that was just a humor. Huh? I know you're not a dirty fellow. It's just a humor. Don't take it to your heart. Huh? Don't just come strong on me. I don't want that. I will support Australia.
I know why you don't want yellow to win. I think I know the reason, so I understand. Don't worry.
I know they beat Pakistan, but end of the day, that's a totally history now.
Yeah.
It's okay. You have to move on because that's what the sportsman spirit and the cricket is a gentleman's game.
One more point to add. That being said, I think I have to take my hats off to the sportsman spirit that New Zealand keeps showing again and again. In the semi-final against England, when they were chasing 12, 13 runs per over, that Adil Rashid one single, the non-striker did not take because he came in the way. I mean, it's unbelievable. As much as you might not want them to win, but their sportsman spirit that they show on the field is exceptional. And hats off. And these are the points that should be highlighted.
Definitely. And I would like you all to endorse it that New Zealand have been always unlucky in the World Cups. Okay, so I think it's the time for them to click tomorrow, because in 2019 England didn't allow them to win. They were always on the edge to win. This World Cup also they came from behind and they have reached final. So let's hope the Kiwis can win tomorrow. Let's hope so. Australia have won many times, so let's hope that this time should be given to Kiwis with their hard work.
Yeah.
Okay, so tomorrow, if suppose any team wins the toss, as we all know what they're going to be doing, they're going to be fielding first. So where do you see Martin? It's going to be a combination, or you can say a battle between Mitchell Starc versus Martin Guptill, right? How fierce is this battle tomorrow? Dylan, first you.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough battle. We know that Guptill has been struggling against the in-swinging ball, especially from the left-handed angle. So it's going to be an interesting battle. The thing is, with Guptill, he hasn't been in the form that Kiwis would require him to be. He's a very good hitter, and he really scores well in the power play. So they really need him to click in the finals. And then Kane Williamson, of course, can come and calm the storm and calm the nerves down and then play a long consolidating inning. But they need Guptill to fire tomorrow. So he needs to, I think, see out Mitchell Starc in the beginning, and then he can target the other bowlers.
First, before I proceed to Bishen, Dylan, this question is to you for the New Zealand purposes. That tomorrow, can you point out two people from New Zealand team, a batsman and a bowler, who could be the X factor against Australia in the bowling and the batting for New Zealand?
It's Kane Williamson, of course, because he's one of the premier batsmen in the world, and he's able to adopt in any situation. So Kane Williamson for me in the batting department. And you might be surprised with the bowling. I'm not going with Trent Bolt. I'm not going with Saudi. I think Sodhi is the guy to go to, because he's a leg spinner. And I think he can make a difference against the Australian batsmen.
Bishen, over to you about the New Zealand team. First is Martin Guptill versus Mitchell Starc. What do you have to say on that battle? And then the X factor of the New Zealand team's players.
Yeah. I'm just going to give a slightly longer answer. I think, yes, it's going to be a fascinating matchup. Mitchell Stark's a big match bowler. He showed that in the World Cup finals in 2015. He showed that in 2019 World Cup against England in the group stage with that ball to Ben Stokes. So he's a big match player. He has all the experience. So he's going to come really hard at Duftel. But beyond that, I think we've not spoken enough, and a lot of credit has been given to Daryl Mitchell. I mean, if you look at his innings in the semi-finals, I mean, he was the hero of the day. He scored a half century against India as well. He's been hitting form at the right time. So
But mind
he's
me,
basically
he's
gone.
not a batsman. He's a bowler who's been promoted up the order, right?
So technically, he qualifies under an all-rounder. But at that level, if you're opening against the world's best and scoring a half century, I'm glad to call him a batsman. I mean, I'm okay with whatever tag goes, but if he's doing the job, that's good enough for the team. So I think he's done a fabulous job, and that will be very interesting to watch out. One of the stats I was reading is the team that actually scores best in the power play has a big advantage. So yes, barring, let's say, Dew is out of the situation, if you're able to maximize those first 6 overs, it gives breathing space to the guys who come in later to take that extra over or so to settle down and then target bowlers. There's so much said about matchups and this bowler versus that batsman and vice versa. Sometimes it's overemphasized. I mean, Santner didn't bowl much in the semis because he was a left-arm bowler, and they felt England had enough lefties to take him on, Morgan and Moeen Ali. And sometimes I feel there's an overemphasis on that. I mean, the captains have the right to take the call, but sometimes I feel that point is overrated in my opinion. Barring that, my top picks, I think I agree with Dylan. Sodhi has had an exceptional World Cup. I think the first 4 matches or 5 matches, he picked up a wicket in the first over he bowled in all those matches. And that's going to be a threat because he has also become, a wily bowler. He's really adopted to this format. I mean, there was a time you thought leg spinners could be easily targeted, but he's been really smart about his bowling changes. So I'll go with him in the bowling. Williamson's the most dependable batsman. Yes, I agree. But for me, I think Mitchell is going to be an X factor if he gets off because he's fearless. He's okay to take the bowlers on. So I'll probably go with Daryl Mitchell.
I want to continue before I proceed to Ansar that you are rightly saying this basically because if you see in the semi-final as well, where whether it was Adil Rashid, Adam Zampa, or Shadab Khan, they were better bowlers in the semi-final because of the leg spin. So I think the leg spin of Ish Sodhi tomorrow will come into handy, and Adam Zampa of Australia. So these two bowlers can definitely play a role in the middle overs to contain the batsman. We will talk on that before Ansar gives his view. Go ahead, Ansar.
Yep, I think Kane Williamson is a no-brainer because if New Zealand really has to win, even though he didn't qualify, he didn't play that well in the semis, yet they did well. But Williamson, I think, has to be the key. So Williamson definitely in batting, but I will also say Glenn Phillips. I think he's a good batsman and he played a very good innings in one of the league matches as well, crucial innings. So Glenn Phillips is also one batsman to look at, and he controls the middle order and he'll be against Zampa. So he's one batsman. When it comes to bowling, Sodhi is a very good bowler, but I think they might take him on. So you might see even Matthew Wade coming up because being a lefty, and if Warner is batting, then you have a lefty playing the leg spinner. So and with Maxi playing all his reverse sweeps and the funny shots against leggies, so there is a chance that they might take him on. So yeah, so Sodhi definitely, but I think if New Zealand has to win, they need wickets up front. They need to get Warner, they need to get Marsh, they need to get Finch out early. And for that, Saudi and Bolt have to click for New Zealand. So yeah, for me, it's going to be Phillips and more of Bolt, if New Zealand has to win. Because if Australia gets off to a good start with the power batting that they have, it's going to be very difficult.
So all the audience out there watching this show of reverse sweep, we have our panel experts in Dylan D. Cruz, Bishen Singh Bhalla, and Ansar Raza Ansari. If you have any questions for them, please pop it out. We can just ask them those questions so that we will get to know their viewpoint about tomorrow, or any question you have related to the World Cup, which you have any match which you have seen, whether it was about Oman's match, India's match, Pakistan's match, or any match you have seen during the World Cup. You have any question which you feel that my panel of guests can answer you, please come up with your questions. I can pop it up on the screen. Till then, we will wait for the questions. And now coming back Again, the heart is saying Australia, mind is saying New Zealand, going two ways, Dubai. क्या कह रहे हैं भाई? What is happening? What is happening?
I think I'll start with the mind and the heart. The heart is saying New Zealand and the mind is saying Australia. So it's the other way around. But let's look back at the World Cup. What moments have really stuck out, or what moments have really made us proud as Indians or Pakistanis or New Zealanders, or just as a neutral cricket fan. So for me, I think the moment that has really stood out is the ball that Shaheen Afridi bowled to Rohit Sharma. It just snipped back in and actually caught him plumb on the crease. It really reminded me of Mohammad Ahmed, and I'm very proud to say that Shaheen Afridi has come a long way. That is, I think, from the Pakistan standpoint of view. Yes, please.
Bish, the question has come for you. I'm putting on the screen for all three of you. But this question is for Bish Singh. For Bish, the question is, who will be the man of the match?
That's a tough one.
It's
That's a
by
very
Faik
tough,
Ansari.
very tough one. But I would imagine just the way the tournament's played out, it would probably be a batsman. Either I would probably go with David Warner. I mean, he's shown in the semi-finals that he puts a price tag on his wickets, and what I really like about David Warner is he has this ability to accelerate, at the same time pace his innings. I mean, if you look at New Zealand's bowling, they held back Santner, and a lot of analysis point to Santner not being brought on to bowl till Warner's there. I don't agree with that logic, but he's a big match player. He's in form, and he's played these matches. He has enough experience to
Did we
come
miss
through.
out Nicham as well in our discussion? Nicham can be a X factor as well.
Possible. The way he played in the semis, definitely. I mean, in fact, he has impressed me among the Kiwis the most because he's not known to be, I mean, with due respect, he's not known to be a frontline bowler. But he's covered up those overs that Santner couldn't bowl in the semis and did a very good job. He bowled the 20th over, by the way, and didn't go for many runs. I think he went for 24 runs. I might be wrong. And the innings he played, 24 of 10 or 11 balls, and that really tilted the match in New Zealand's favour, and then Daryl Mitchell finished it off. So he's been exceptional. And New Zealand keeps producing these people who know their roles and are able to contribute. So they don't have one single, I mean, Williamson's excellent, but they don't have these 5 big names, but 11 names who know what they have to do. And as a unit, they always deliver. And that's what's so dangerous about them and so special about them. So Warner as man of the match to the question asked.
Okay, there's another question from the guests. I'm sorry, from the audience. I'm sure you might be knowing him. His name is Stuti Sati. And he's saying, who will win tomorrow? So this is for all three of you.
Okay, I would go with New Zealand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Australia for me.
Ansar?
I've made myself very clear. I'm yellow, so Australia.
So it's 2-1 now. Okay, so Bish has changed his sentiments towards Australia now. So I think Stuti Sati, आपका जवाब मिल गया कि Bish is saying New Zealand. Dalen is saying New Zealand. Bish has changed his sentiments towards Australia, and Ansar from the beginning was with Australia. So bring it on, guys. Bring it on. More questions. We need to put these guests on the little hot seat, and we need to find out what questions you guys are going to be popping out for them to answer you back. So let's wait for more questions and to make this more interesting. Okay, I came up with this little bit different today to have a rapid fire style with all three of you. Since you guys are so passionate in cricket and you have played, you have followed, and you keep on doing work related to cricket. So I think let's play a little rapid fire with you all so that we can enjoy and make this segment a little bit interesting. Okay, from all the teams, let's see what your memory says, what your sixth sense says. What could be your answers for that. Okay, this question is just coming out from my mind. Okay, there's nothing being prepared. There's nothing prepared. Let's see whether I do a good job on it. Okay, from Oman. This is a question for Oman cricket team. You all three can answer one by one. What is the weak link in Oman cricket team that is affecting the Oman cricket team to flourish in a way where it can be changed? Just a question. Dylan,
That's a very good question. I don't see any weak link at the moment. They're really doing well as a team. Okay, I don't think
I
there's
don't
a
want to
weak
be
link.
political. You can just you can play it safe. You can play on the back foot. It's okay.
Yeah, no. I don't want to be safe. I just want to be neutral about it. Oman cricket is in good hands. Okay, the team selection, I have an issue with the last match, but besides that, everything has been fine. Only the last match, I think they got this team selection wrong. Besides that, I think everything is spot on.
Bish.
I wouldn't use the word weak link. I think an area for sort of to look on or to work on is more exposure, more international matches, and playing against more of the top teams. I mean, we could clearly see, the way they played at least the first 10 overs against Bangladesh. I mean, you expect Bangladesh to knock over all teams comfortably, but for a significant part of our innings, we were in the match. I mean, I think we were 70 odd in 10 overs, which is credible given what we were chasing. And that's typically how teams have gone about, even in the later stages, 70 in the first, 70, 75 in the first 10 overs, targeting another 85, 90 in the last 10 overs. So I think just the more matches they play, the better they'll get. So that's my sort of analysis on the Oman team.
Over to you, Ansar.
As rightly said by the panelists, I think there's no weakness as such, but there are always areas to improve. Definitely, fielding would be one of them because I think that really hurt us in the game against Bangladesh, and more of catching than ground fielding. So definitely, that would be one area that they can focus on and improve. I mean, there's always scope for improvement in every field for every person, but fielding is one area where they can improve.
This question is being raised by Mr. Ashwin Lobo, and it's very rightly said, which I also would like to bring it to all your panel's notice, that this incident happened between Pakistan and Australia semi-final, and it's about David Warner. Let me just put it across on the screen so that we can read it. Ansar and Balaji, would you expect Warner to walk again if the umpire gives him out, not out, in case for edges, doesn't edge the ball given it's final this time and blah blah blah. So I totally understand what that question is coming out for. That we all knew after the Ultra Edge showed that he was not out. As a fan, I wouldn't agree him leaving the pitch. But what could be the area? What could have gone wrong in Warner's mind by saying that he's out? You know,
I think what happened there was because Tommy Abangwa was on Star Sports commentating that time, and he or someone else mentioned that probably the reason why Warner walked when there was clearly daylight between bat and ball is I think his grip or the handle, probably that moved a bit and there was a vibration, and that's what he felt at that moment while playing that shot, that he got an edge to it. And that's the reason he walked. I mean, otherwise, if you look at post-mortem, it's pretty evident that he was not out. He had the right to challenge the call and go for a review, and he would be clearly given not out. So I think that's what happened. And luckily, not much focus went on that because of the way the match ended. But coming to if this situation repeated, it's always going to be a gray area. What's within the rules versus what's not within the rules. I mean, we've seen instances where batsmen have not edged the ball, but it's been given out. And back in the days when there were no reviews, the batsman had no other option but to walk off and all. So it's always going to be a gray area. I strongly, this is my personal belief. If it's within the rule book, you have the full entitlement to sort of go and do it. I mean, this mankidding thing has been spoken about extensively, and Ashwin did that in one of the matches. So it's always going to be a gray area. I believe if it's within the rule books, you have the right to do that. And the reason I say this is World Cup 2019. So sorry, I'm going back to that. Ben Stokes dived, the ball touched his back. It went for a 4. Now, in all honesty, Ben Stokes admitted after the match that if I had the right to cancel those runs, I would cancel them. I would request the umpire to cancel, but were those 4 runs cancelled? They weren't. I mean, it probably cost New Zealand the World Cup. The whole world saw it, but they couldn't reverse the runs because it was part of the rule book. So was there a clause that they could have clawed back those runs? No. So I think if it's within the rule books, the batsman or the bowler or the team is entitled to do as they wish.
It was a really important match going on between Australia and Pakistan, right? So don't you think Warner for a second could have gone for the review? They had 2 reviews left, by thinking to ask the third umpire to just check it up whether that was really an edge. Just walking wasn't that the gentleman's game, I would say, if you are not confident enough about it.
I mean, in fact, I don't know where the gentleman's game part is coming up on this because the batsman decided not to review. In fact, my further point to this is that once it came on the big screen and let's say Pakistan team saw that there was no edge, probably they would have taken an extraordinary step and said, you know what, this batsman didn't nick it. Umpire, we want to reverse that decision. And I don't blame them for that. I mean, that's just the way it happened and they showed the edge later. So if it was LBW, he probably would have considered. But when he thought it was the edge and he walked off, I guess he was pretty convinced it touched the bat, which it didn't. But that's just how it was.
First, we will go to Ansar and then to Dalen, and then the question of Mr. Zakia Rida Ansari. Okay, we'll take that question after the viewpoint of Ansar and then Dalen.
So
Go ahead, Ansar.
I think the point to focus here is that the umpire did give it out. So it's not that the Warner walked when umpire had given it not out. So umpire heard the noise, keeper and the bowler heard the noise. Warner felt he had nicked it. And from what I've read in a couple of interviews, Maxwell, who was on the other end, also said that he heard something because he also didn't ask Warner to stay back or let's review it. So there was some noise, and that's when he walked off. Now,
what could be that noise? What could be that noise when it was not an ultra edge? What could be that noise?
So, the funny point is that ultra edge technology works on picking noise. It is unlike the hotspot where it shows whether it has touched or not and infrared radiation and all that. It picks up noise. So if there was a noise, and even if there was a noise coming from the bat, there should have been a spike. So even if, as Warner says, that maybe to the click of the handle, there should have been a spike because it's a noise only that is picked up in the ultra edge. So it was a very strange decision because everyone heard the noise. I mean, the batsman walks off, and let me be honest here, Warner is not the kind who's going to walk. Okay, and let's not forget the 6 he hit of Hafiz. So he's definitely not going to walk. So there was an edge. Everyone heard it, including the umpire, including the non-striker. But nothing showed up on the snickometer, and there was a big gap between the bat and ball. So
don't you think when he went back to the dressing room while watching that edge, which wasn't an edge, did he regret his decision or he won't regret that decision?
See, the thing is, if a batsman feels that he has nicked it, he will just walk off, and that happens in 100% of the cases, especially since this new technology has come. So he's thought he's nicked it. Even if you see the appeal from the bowler and the keeper was very spontaneous. It was extremely, and Maxwell is also didn't even stop him. Umpire gave it out. So and he knew he had edged it, so he walked off. But the funny thing is, what has happened, I think, will remain a mystery because if there was a noise which everyone heard and Warner also felt, then it should have shown up on the snickometer because it picks up noise. So it was a very strange one. Honestly, it was a very strange one.
Dalen, what is your viewpoint on that edge of David Warner?
I would agree with Bishen and Ansar. See, as a cricketer or anyone who's played cricket, whenever you've nicked the ball, you definitely know. You absolutely know when you nicked the ball. So there is no reason as to why Warner walked out just without. I know the umpire gave him out, but he should have reviewed it because there is absolutely no doubt that when you nick it, you definitely know. So the sixth sense or the third, the instantaneous reaction is that you should review it. And Warner, as rightly said, he's not the type of batsman to walk out. He also, I don't think that was ethical what he did with Hafiz hitting the six. But it's within the game, within the rules. Once again, it's a mystery. It's a mystery.
Let's take this question of Zakia Rida Ansari for all three of you. This question is for all three of you. I'm putting it on the screen, but I'm reading it loud as well so that you can know. It says, which captain do you think is the best captain for the T20 format over all the years? What can the current captains learn and take away from the captain to do well in the next World Cup? Dylan, first you, then we will proceed to the other two.
For me, it's Kane Williamson, hands down. He's very shrewd in the field. He knows exactly which fielder to place where and when. And his field placement as well as his bowling changes have been very, very remarkable. Have been very impressive. So I think Kane Williamson for me, hands down.
Bish?
Are we talking about current captain or sort of former captains also over the years?
Which captain do you think is the best captain for the T20 format over all the years? What can the current captains learn and take away from the captain to do well in the next World Cup? That's the question.
I would probably go with MS Dhoni. I mean, for the simple reason that, I mean, just taking a step back, 2007 World Cup, and then I know it's a long time back, but that was a time that this format was not well known in sort of Asia. It was more of an English invention and a creation, and everyone expected sort of the Western teams to do better. And just the way he sort of played that tournament and the way he's known, I believe with due respect and humility, he's probably one of the best cricketing brains of all times. So just the way he uses his bowlers, he uses sort of his cricketing brain. I think he's someone, and a lot of former captains who played the IPL or in general have also spoken very highly about him and how they've always looked to sort of. I mean, batsmen even today say, we mimic the Dhoni way of finishing and handling an innings and finishing the match. So probably, yeah, that's something I would give him a lot of credit for.
I think one of you have the TV on so we can hear the background noise at your end. Can any of you just switch off the TV for the little background noise we are getting? Anyone is having the TV on your side? No. Okay. No issues. Okay. Now the whole idea, I think we should give from the Asian teams who are the captains. For example, Babar Azam, Virat Kohli has announced his retirement from T20 cricket. Then we have Mahmudullah. Then we had the Shanaka. I'm not sure Sri Lankan captain's name at the moment. I apologize for
Shanaka.
that. Shanaka. So, out of all these Asian captains, where do you see the Asian team performing next year in the Australia? Dylan, over to you.
Can you repeat the question because the noise is really difficult?
The question is that out of all these Asian teams, the captains, right now we're going to see a different captains for sure, except India, because India has changed the captain to Rohit Sharma. Virat Kohli is not going to be the captain next year in Australia's World Cup. So, how do you see the Asian teams performing in the Australian conditions for the next year's World Cup?
See, it won't be as easy as the UAE. It'll be a different, totally different pitches, and there'll probably be fast pitches that are like the Wacker, and you have Perth as well. So I don't think the Asian teams will be able to adapt very easily. So having said that, I think India, from all the teams, should be able to play the conditions well. I see Babar Azam continuing. He's only 27 years old, so I see him continuing. Mahmudullah, I think he will be replaced following his debacle at the World Cup. And his body language also has been very weak. Of course, Rohit Sharma will be coming in for India. And Afghanistan, I think they will continue with Mohammad Nabi. Afghanistan, I see them struggling with their swashbuckling batting in Australian conditions. So I don't think Bangladesh is going to do too well. Bangladesh and Afghanistan, they're going to struggle in Australia.
Ansar, your mic is off, so we won't be able to hear you. So your mic needs to be on. Okay.
Yeah.
And now, since we had definitely we have covered all the areas for tomorrow's final, which is in New Zealand versus Australia, and we know now who we are supporting and who the team will win tomorrow. So let's try to make it a bit more easier now because a lot of people are enjoying our live interview. So in that way, I would say it's time for I give 1 minute to each of you before I could wrap because we have covered everything. What's the again your feeling about cricket proceeding for coming year? Dalen, question to you means how do you see cricket proceeding for the coming year? Matches in
I
different
see.
countries and everything.
I see a positive year 2022. We've had a lot of setbacks in 2020 because of COVID and the early part of 2021. But I see cricket returning to full action in 2022. You have the World Cup, which will be very exciting in Australia. You have a lot of qualifiers when it comes to Oman. So that will be very interesting to follow. And you have a lot of tours coming in for all the teams, I think, in an equal manner. So I think there's a lot of cricket to be played and it'll be very exciting. The IPL 2022 as well, it's going to be exciting again. So the PSL is also there and the BPL. So you have a lot of games coming up. So it's really good.
We're going to be having IPL, PSL, Big Bash. The England and Australia might be touring Pakistan. India will be having a home series against New Zealand. Lots and lots of matches coming up, guys. So we're going to get to see different talent from different countries also coming forward to express themselves. So that's going to be amazing. So Bish, what do you have to say?
I mean, there is a lot of cricket that's going to be coming. I mean, just the sheer volume of cricket that's played is excellent for a cricket fan. And Ashes is around the corner. There's a World Cup. There's IPL. There are all these leagues. There are tours. So I mean, it's exciting. And I think what is significantly changed over the last, I would say probably a decade or so, is the whole home ground advantage. I mean, that used to be a given that if you're touring Australia or England or South Africa, I mean, it's just a matter of how many tests you can manage to draw because winning was not easy. And I think now what a lot of teams have proved is they can tour these countries and win over there. I mean, India, for example, they won back-to-back series in Australia. They're leading the series in England, which is yet to be decided. They blanked New Zealand at home 5-0 in T20. A lot of other teams that tour other countries have done extremely well. So I think series have become more competitive now, which is great to see. Which as a cricket fan you want to see. I mean, no one wants to see a one-sided series. You know, okay, you might enjoy it as a home fan, but you want to see more open series where teams challenge each other. I think that's the real value that I've seen over the last
I think we
5-7
need
years.
to
So
see
it's
more of
exciting.
India-Pakistan matches because if you have seen that someone saying that the most viewing match of the whole World Cup was, as we all know, it was India versus Pakistan. So I think let's hope that in future we get to see India-Pakistan playing more often.
Yeah, sorry, I'll just take another 30 seconds. You asked this question initially, and I didn't get a chance to answer in terms of what was the most heartening moment of the World Cup. I believe the India-Pakistan game, the 30 odd seconds they showed after the game where Virat Kohli walked over to I think Mohammad Rizwan and Babar Azam and patted them on the back. I mean, that is the real story of cricket. We might have all
That
these
that was
news
the
channels and we might
beauty.
have
That was
Definitely,
the
these
beauty
definitely.
of the whole
fans,
World Cup,
etc.
I
I
would
mean,
say.
that is the true spirit of cricket. That is what we lost the game. I mean, there's no denying that Pakistan completely outplayed India, but it wasn't about aggression. I mean, just the fact that two teams as cricketers are great ambassadors of the game. I think that's where the real victory for cricket was. And that's what I believe stands out in my memory when I look back at this World Cup. It's a game
Same
end of the
here,
day, and
same here,
let's
same
be
here.
humans first.
Correct.
The
We
smiling
all want the
faces of
team to
Virat
win.
Kohli, Mohammad Rizwan, and Babar Azam
Yes,
talking for just
yes,
for few seconds after the match was
yes,
over. That was the turning point for India-Pakistan fans to see that the rivalry can happen, the battles can
yes.
happen, but end of the day, we are human beings. Those gestures really changes the mood, the mind, and you can come closer. And human to human relations between both the countries can definitely improve with gestures like these.
Correct.
Sorry, Ansar, your viewpoint in the end, then we can wrap it up today, inshallah.
Yeah, and I think the next year is going to be big for cricket because we'll be slowly seeing things coming back to normal. Maybe the bio bubbles might be eased, so you will see the players having a more less mental fatigue, and with the World Cup and the IPL and the PSL and the Big Bash, of course, those will continue. From the Indian team point of view, we have a new management now. We have a new T20 captain and a new coach coming in. So, of course, that is something that the whole world will be looking at how things are going to be handled.
To Rahul Dravid and Rohit Sharma for the new journey.
Yeah, we all wish them well, and
Good
we
luck.
really hope that for India it's going to be a big year, and I think for the rest of the world, everyone, we have the Ashes coming up. So a lot of events. ICC has planned it in a way that there's always a one ICC event every year. So we have the T20 World Cup again, and then 50 over World Cup the next year. So yeah, so there's a lot of cricket, and let's just hope that the COVID stays away, inshallah, and there is ease of traveling and those things, so that the players are less fatigued, because you sometimes really feel bad for the players, and the stories that you get to hear, it's really remarkable, how they survive just locked inside rooms, for 14 days. It's not easy, so
It's not
really hope
easy.
that those things get
Mental.
become easy. And definitely on the point of India Pakistan match, as Bishen was saying, I think it was heartening to see not just the hug between the guys. Even post that, there was a picture where Dhoni was standing and Shoaib Malik and a couple of junior Pakistani players were listening, and you could see that respect from both the sides, and it is so
Yes.
beautiful to see.
Yes.
So I think India-Pakistan cricket should be played. I've always personally felt that the cricket should not be stopped because it brings people together, and of course the rivalry continues. So, and if you're playing them at ICC events, then you should not be playing them at any other places. You should
Choose a
be.
neutral venue and start playing. When we
Absolutely.
could play in
Yeah,
Sharjah many
really.
years in the 90s, why to choose the country if the politics is involved? Just go ahead and play maybe in the UAE, maybe in some other country, but that cricket should continue. I would say that. So, guys, you guys have been always, it was an honor of mine to have you as an individual in different, what do you call, the discussions we had. Okay, but today's discussion was totally amazing and awesome. Why I would say that? Basically because we all were on the same platform and discussing, which we all love and which we are so passionate about. That's called cricket. So with that thing, I would like to say, Dale D. Cruz, thank you so
Thank
much,
you so
sir,
much. Thank you.
for organizing and arranging this reverse sweep. So thank you to you, Bish, for being always a great sport.
Pleasure.
We love to hear from you as well. And Ansar, keep playing on the front foot because that's
Thank
what
you.
your strokes are so great to be played on the front foot. So
Thank you so much.
before you guys go, as you know, I always ask my guests, shout out from you guys again. That would be best for the Maclog. So please, Dylan, start with you, and then to Bish, and then to Ansar.
Yes, go for Matlock, subscribe and like now.
Thank you. Bish.
Guys, Maclogs is an excellent platform. Please, Masroor's done some great work over the years. This is not the first time he's been doing this for a while. Please like, subscribe, keep following, and he'll keep putting up great content for everyone's entertainment. Go for it.
Over to you, Ansar, and then Assalamu alaikum to all after that.
Yeah, no, I think everyone should understand that the amount of effort that is being put up is tremendous by Masroor, and we hope and we pray that your channel grows. And I would request all the viewers here that please subscribe, please like the videos, and have more engagement and support the local bloggers, support the local video people, so that there is more quality content that is coming out. So really kudos, hats off to your efforts, and I hope that people can support you in the easiest way possible is to subscribe.
Thank you once again, guys, for being a great sportsman's spirit which you have, and the people love you all. So I love you guys basically because we all are friends for a long time. The friendship is the thing which really connects us and keep us intact all these years. So I really love you and give you all the best. God bless you, Dylan, you and your family. Bish, you and your family. Ansar, you and your family. Keep smiling, shining with a smile, and keep on working towards a goal that is to shine and make cricket prosper. And all the youngsters where we can give them our inputs and our feedbacks and train them and help them come forward in expressing themselves. Thank you once again, guys. So see you
Thank
next
you.
time with another show, another guest, maybe with them again on a different show for sure. Take care, good night, and it was lovely pleasure. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Good night.
See you. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Take care.